At the KSMO studios, time for our spotlight on the Salem Memorial Hospital. Gina Umfleet's with us, and Gina's new. You're a newbie.
I am.
Well, we appreciate you being here, and you're going to talk a little bit about our Salem Memorial Hospital long-term care unit. Well, first off, congratulations on coming and being a part of our family here, and tell us a little bit about yourself, if you would. Move that a little closer.
Yeah. I am a long-term care administrator. I also
Okay.
have my administrator's license.
Okay.
I am the director over long-term care out at the hospital. I came from I was at Houston House in Houston, Missouri for 11 years. I started there as a charge nurse and worked myself up to
Wow.
administrator. And then I went from there to Rolla Health and Rehab in Rolla. So,
Well, fantastic. Well, we're glad to have you with us.
thank you.
And very good. So you're not a newbie to that area, but you're a
No.
newbie on radio. So we'll still call you a newbie, but nonetheless. But again, thank you for coming in. Long-term care. It's a specialized. It's a unique unit. You're having to deal with a lot of people that have big families. Some have small families. Some don't have any family. And so you kind of see the whole gambit, don't you? And how much care those people actually need.
Yes, we do see the whole gamut. We have a lot of really great families that come in pretty much daily to see their loved ones that we have. We do have some families that live away, but they come in usually on the weekends. And then, the girls and I, and the nurses, kind of become family to the ones that don't see their family very often.
Let's talk about those nurses, because there's a great group of nurses in long-term care. And you mentioned you kind of become family. You kind of become their family, but then when their family comes in, you become a bigger part of their family, don't you?
That's right. We do. We do.
And it's kind of fun. And a lot of times, well, I can't say since you've been there, since you've only been there a short period of time, but in past, they've had special events where the seniors get a chance to have their family. That all kind of went away with COVID. It was really a hard time, and I felt so bad for the residents there, because all they could do is see their family through glass,
Yes.
from the outside. That had to be just heart-wrenching to not even be able to see your loved ones up close and personal, which thank gosh we're not doing that anymore.
Absolutely.
But unique things to seniors, getting them involved and keeping them going. That's very important, isn't it?
It is. When we do activities with them, usually we have an activity director in our unit, which is great. She usually does like exercises in the mornings. Sometimes she cooks with them and they make different snacks and that type of stuff. Tomorrow we are doing our Thanksgiving party / dinner for the residents.
That's great.
With their families. So that'll be a good time.
That's
We're
fantastic.
Anxious to do that.
And I know a lot of times in the past, sometimes they've had Cardinal nights where they get a chance to watch the Cardinal games, and you kind of have a little party, and they get all their Cardinal stuff on, and they wave their pennants and stuff. But you think about that's what they grew up doing. That's what they like to do. They like to remember those days. They like to talk about those days, don't they?
Yes, they do. They like to fill you in. They will tell you stories, and it is very. It's really nice to hear, and they enjoy that. They enjoy going outside on the patio. They went out last week when it was really nice. And
It's going to be
just
70
said,
today.
Yeah, we might take them out for a while. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be really nice out there. And one of those things when you start becoming more familiar with the people that are in the residential care, and it's a fantastic thing, because not only do you become part of their family, but they then tell you their history. And you're going to find out a lot of the residents you actually have in there are related.
Yes.
Somewhere down the road, isn't it? It's kind of crazy, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And some of them actually, they have been at residential care, so they have transitioned over, and they're all friends, and they remember them. So they all have their little groups, and they sit and, because they were friends before.
Well, sure,
So
and they
it's
visit
good.
and they talk, and it's good to have that. Sometimes you might even have people in there that may have known each other 30, 40, 50 years
Yes.
ago, and all of a sudden, and they've been apart, they haven't even seen each other in all that time, and then suddenly, I'm not going to say suddenly, but they get kind of put into a unique situation where they're rejoined, and possibly in the most unusual circumstances, but here they are.
Yes. Yeah. And it does happen.
It will happen.
Yeah. It does happen. And
Not
we do
only
have
it's
it.
not going to happen
yeah.
every day, but it does happen.
It does happen.
So you guys in long-term care, you're still under the auspices of the Salem Memorial Hospital, and you get inspected just like anybody else. You don't have any special rules, you don't have any special I shouldn't say rules, but special, kind of special treatment because you're affiliated with the hospital. You still have to do everything that you did in your other locations. You still
Yes.
have to abide by all those rules,
Yes.
and you still get inspected by the state, just like they did.
Yes, we did have our annual inspection the week after I started, which was
Surprise!
yeah, absolutely. Which we did pass when deficiency free, so that's awesome.
And that's something I think people need to know. It's not just that you do this great job that you do, and working with our seniors, we all love you for that because they deserve the attention as much as anybody else. But also, you have to do everything by the state. And a lot of that is a little bit, I kind of call it glass. It's very cold.
Yes.
You have to abide by this rule, and this rule is set in stone. It's etched out there in absolutely cold steel, and you don't violate it for anything. Really is sometimes hard to work around some of those and still make the senior, your patient, feel very comfortable because they don't need to know about all that. They just need to know about how you're going to serve them.
That's right. That's right. It's very regulated. Long-term care industry is very, very regulated.
I don't know what isn't regulated anymore, but it seems like long-term care is maybe even over-regulated at times.
Sometimes it seems that way, yes.
Right. And they seem to change the rules quite a bit in the legislature, don't they?
Yes, yeah. Usually almost every year it changes. Something changes.
Right.
And then, even every 6 months, or with COVID, it was like everything changed like daily, it seemed like, or weekly for sure. So.
And I'm going to ask you, and you answer this because you are a little bit more experienced in this, so you've been around a little bit. But, there have been some issues with nursing homes and residential cares that have been fires, and all of a sudden the legislature maybe overreacts a little bit. They're very reactionary. They like to do that, and all of a sudden, well, we have to change this, and suddenly every residential care has to have 15,000 sprinklers. Easy to regulate that, but who can afford to put 15,000 sprinklers in a residential care? Yeah, you need some protection. Don't get me wrong. But sometimes they just don't really think the whole picture through. They react to it, and then the next thing you know, they're having to backtrack. I always find that troublesome because initially when they do it, you're put under the scrutiny of these new rules, aren't you?
Yes, yes. And you do your best to abide by them. And, you work a lot back and forth with the state, with their life safety team, if it's a sprinkler issue. And, because sometimes the buildings are so old, the sprinkler systems are so old, you have to try to implement that, which is a lot of work and a lot of cost sometimes.
Well, and then the rules of a sprinkler system have changed since it was put in. There might have been one sprinkler to every room, and now they want two.
Yes.
And you just can't automatically just stick that. Well, sure, we'll just put a spigot right here. Doesn't work that way, does it?
No, it does not.
And then you have to, obviously, then the cost of doing that it can become a major factor, especially if you're a privately run nursing home, residential care, long-term care unit. It can almost bankrupt you when you have to try and just abide by that because all of a sudden you're going to have to double your fees.
Yes.
And the families aren't going to be happy with that. And even if the person in there is on insurance, the insurance company may not be happy about that. They may not pay you.
That's true. They may not, so it's always a gamble.
It's always a battle sometimes too,
Yes.
isn't it? Well, it truly is. So when you look at the Salem long-term care unit, it's smaller than the ones you're obviously used to. Is that intimacy? Do you find that? I mean, it makes it worth going in every single day because it is a close-knit group?
Yes. You always there's always somebody you're going to click a little better with.
Sure.
But the unit back there, it's very close knit. We do see them, and most of the residents have been there a long time.
Yeah.
So the girls are very close to a lot of them.
And you get a chance to visit and
Yes.
just, and you not only just visit, but you, as we talked about, become family. But you also have a concern when you see something like a family member would, when somebody's going through something, or if they're troubled, if they're not feeling well. Usually just by visually seeing how they react, or maybe they've got a little bit pale or something, you guys pretty well know if something's wrong, don't you?
Yes, we can pick up on that really quickly because
and
we do
that's-
see them day to day.
Yeah, and when you have that nice intimacy like we have here in Salem, it does make that very nice because then your concern immediately is for them. And the nice thing is you're attached right to the hospital. Should something be out of the ordinary, you can
Right.
get them in and get tests done very quickly.
Yes, yeah, we can, and that's
Really?
great.
It is. It's fantastic. One thing that we talked about when we came in, we do have a vacancy right now. Do we not?
I do. I do have one bed open. It is a female bed. We're we do have a waiting list. Our social worker at the hospital goes through that, and she checks who's on that waiting list to see if they're ready to come in, and then we go from there.
But there's no harm in somebody else calling and getting on that waiting list because we just never know
Right.
when somebody might get ready. And if you're not ready, that's okay too.
That's right. We have you on the waiting list, so when you are and we have an opening, we can give you a call.
Yeah, and see if things have changed with your situation. Hopefully, you can stay at home for all of your days. But if you can't and you need some assistance, I don't think of a better place to go than the Salem Long-Term Care Unit.
Well, thank you.
You guys do a tremendous job. If you've never been there, and I would tell anybody, I think I was very fortunate to be able to go in there, and this is long before COVID, but I got a chance to actually go in there and talk to some people who were there, who I actually knew when I got here, and it really was. I walked in there and I was just amazed. Everybody just sitting around saying, "Yeah, how you doing?" They know who you are before you know who they are because they've heard it from the residents there.
Yes.
Oh, my son's coming today, or my daughter's coming today, or this friend of my family's coming today. So when you walk in the door, they already know who you are.
Yeah.
This was pretty cool. I'm like, hey, how you doing? I have no idea who you are. But, and then you sit down and they come over and they're not rude. They just come over and they just say, hey, how you doing? What do you think of our place?
Yeah.
Really, it's just kind of fun to listen. And they get excited when visitors come. And that's the neatest thing because that's what keeps them going.
Yes, it is. Any visitor that comes in, they're very friendly. Some of them more so than others, but, they enjoy people. They enjoy talking and, they're always very social.
One of the things, and I don't know, Gene, if you're familiar with it yet, but usually our Salem Chamber Choir goes over there and sings for them at Christmas time. And that's usually probably the highlight of their Christmas besides their family being there. And I don't know if you ever heard our Salem Chamber Choir.
I have
but they're
not.
pretty amazing. And
Right.
when they go over there and sing to those residents, it's pretty cool stuff. So, I'm hoping that's still on the agenda. You just never know where that all fits in. But that's what we like to see our community support our seniors. They deserve it.
Yes, they do. They do.
Anything else you want to add
No.
about
no,
long-term
no.
care? Anything new going on in long-term care?
No, just, we're doing our Thanksgiving. We're doing Christmas the 22nd.
Okay.
If you ever want to come in and visit, by all means, feel free. They would love it. So, yeah.
Yeah, come and see what it's like. And
right.
now, if somebody may have a loved one that's getting close and they'd like to visit and come by for a tour, you
Yes,
guys
I
do that too,
Uh-huh.
correct?
Yes, we do. That'd be great. I do tours and can help you out and show you around.
There you go. Well, we always appreciate the great work that our friends at Salem Hospital do. And thank you again for coming in. No, it wasn't so bad, was it?
No, it was good. I enjoyed it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, we appreciate you guys coming down. Our Salem Memorial Hospital and our interview today with Gina Umfleet and from Long-Term Care. So if you have any questions, what's your number, Gina?
My number is, you can dial the...
Because they've changed all the
main-
extensions.
Exactly. You can call the main switchboard, which is 729-6626, and my extension is 4600.
4600. Thanks again for coming and spending
Thanks.
some time with us on KSMO Radio. All right, we have Civic